She was just 12. Jocelyn Nungaray left home and never came back. Her lifeless body was found strangled in a Houston bayou, her hands and feet bound. But what's more horrifying than the crime is the cover-up no one's talking about. A former district attorney has come forward, exposing chilling concerns. Law enforcement missed red flags. Worse, one of the suspects, an illegal immigrant, allegedly had a disturbing history of abuse in Venezuela. And yet, he was allowed in. No alerts, no oversight. How does someone with a dark past cross borders, blend in, and murder a child under our watch? The system didn't just fail Jocelyn, it ignored her. Political silence, delayed action, and ignored complaints may have paved the way for this nightmare. Don't let her story fade. Share this. Demand answers. Subscribe to The Hidden Dossier, where we expose the truth they try to bury. Because if justice stays silent now, it'll scream louder in the next tragedy. Jocelyn Nungaray was just 12 years old, a middle schooler with dreams, friends, and a future. On June 17, 2024, her body was found in a bayou in North Houston, bound and lifeless. It wasn't just a murder, it was a brutal act of violence that horrified an entire community. Security footage revealed that she had walked out late at night, allegedly after an argument with her parents. Surveillance later shows her with two men in their 20s, non-citizens who had recently crossed the border. Police believe she was lured, manipulated, and ultimately murdered. Two Venezuelan nationals, Jesus Ivan Lopez Gutierrez and Johander Cardoso, were arrested shortly after. The charges, capital murder. The motive, unclear. But what's not unclear is this: a child is dead, and the public wants answers. The suspect's immigration status immediately ignited a political firestorm. Both men had reportedly entered the U.S. illegally and had been released pending court dates. To many, this wasn't just a criminal case. It was a failure of immigration enforcement. Texas lawmakers, including Governor Greg Abbott, blamed lax border policies and sanctuary city protections. Conservatives erupted in outrage, saying the system had blood on its hands. On the other side, immigrant rights advocates warned against xenophobia and broad generalizations. But here's the controversial twist. While politicians argued, no one seemed to be asking the most crucial question. Did law enforcement miss obvious warning signs? Now, a former Harris County Assistant District Attorney has broken her silence, and what she's revealing could change everything. In a televised interview, former ADA Linda Ramirez expressed deep concern about how the case has been handled. According to her, multiple red flags were either ignored or dismissed. She claims there were early signs, reports of suspicious behavior from one of the suspects after arriving in Houston, even complaints to local police that were never acted on. These were not ghosts walking around. These were men with a record of concern. It's appalling that it took the death of a child for anyone to take notice, Ramirez said. Even more shocking, Ramirez suggested that internal pressure within the DA's office may have discouraged aggressive follow-up on certain non-citizen suspects due to political sensitivity. If true, this raises deeply troubling questions about whether political correctness came before public safety. And then came the bombshell: an alleged history of abuse linked to one of the suspects, dating back to his time in Venezuela. According to investigative reports obtained by local media outlets, Jesus Gutierrez was reportedly investigated in his home country for coercive behavior toward minors. While he was never formally charged due to a lack of evidence and widespread corruption, the reports were enough to raise alarms. Yet somehow, this background was never flagged when he crossed into the United States. Whether due to broken international communication systems, underfunded background checks, or indifference, a man possibly tied to predatory behavior walked into the U.S. undetected. Border officials have since stated that no criminal record appeared during his intake. But that may not mean he was clean. It may just mean no one looked deep enough. Let's take a step back. The U.S. immigration system is strained. Border agents are overwhelmed, backlogged, and often working without access to full international criminal databases. Add to that a politically charged climate where every decision is scrutinized, and you get a system too scared or too slow to act decisively. But immigration is only one part of the problem. The former DA's accusations shine a spotlight on internal issues within Harris County itself. Allegations of missed opportunities to intervene, community complaints ignored, and perhaps most controversially, an environment that prioritized image over enforcement. How many times have we seen this? A tragedy occurs, everyone rushes to offer thoughts and prayers, then the case fades from headlines, and nothing changes. But this time the silence speaks louder. Because there's a child, a 12-year-old girl, who will never get to dream, grow, or live because adults in power either didn't act or didn't want to. The Houston community is now split, some demanding justice, others demanding answers, and many wondering who to trust. Protests have erupted outside the courthouse. Parents are terrified. Immigrant communities are caught in a painful spotlight, wanting to grieve but also fearing backlash. Meanwhile, local officials are trying to walk a tightrope. The DA's office says they're fully investigating the case. But with a former prosecutor speaking out and a grieving city watching closely, the pressure is only growing. Jocelyn's family, devastated and overwhelmed, has asked for privacy, but also called on the public to demand real accountability. Because they, like so many others, are asking, how did this happen? Who ignored the signs? And will anyone truly be held responsible? This isn't just the story of a horrific crime. It's a mirror held up to a system full of cracks. From broken immigration screening, to law enforcement missteps, to political silence that prioritizes optics over action. The tragedy of Jocelyn Nungaray exposes how easily justice, protection, and truth can fall through the cracks when no one's paying attention, or when it's simply inconvenient to speak up. Now, a former DA has spoken, and abuse history has emerged. The question is, will this finally wake the system up, or will it just be another name lost in the noise? One thing is clear, the time to speak is now because Jocelyn can't. Subscribe to The Hidden Dossier for more real stories they don't want you to hear, because silence protects no one.